Hi, it's Jenny Losi here with the Idaho State Journal. I'm at the Pocatello Airport with Lori Dinkers, who flew in today all the way from Washington just to talk with the Idaho State Journal about the TSA. She and a couple of the officers were nice enough to do interviews with us and show us exactly how the TSA works, what are some of the precautions to take, and some of the things that Pocatello's airport has recently found.
So TSA has certain items that are not allowed through the security checkpoint on board an aircraft, and those items often are common sense, and sometimes people are surprised at what those are. And we just encourage people to take a few minutes before they come to the airport to educate themselves on what is and is not allowed, so when they come to the security checkpoint they can be screened quickly, leave with all of their belongings, and just get on their trip. We know most people just want to get to their destination safely, and the best way to do that is to be prepared.
One interesting item that we had at the checkpoint was called a gun lighter. Looked very much like a gun on the X-ray. However, it was just used in a lighter format to, light a cigarette. Just a novelty item. Doesn't seem like a big deal to the passenger, but law enforcement, when somebody looks at that item, you don't know if it's real or not.
But we know that nationwide from 2014 as compared to 2013, we saw a 20% increase in the number of firearms brought to the security checkpoint, and that's an alarming increase. Fortunately, here at Pocatello, we did not have a firearm brought to the checkpoint in 2014, but we did have one brought in 2013. And that process goes like this. If our officers see the image of a firearm in the X-ray, they cease all screening and they notify local law enforcement. Here at the airport, that is the Pocatello Police Department. They then take custody of the bag and the passenger, and that passenger could face criminal penalties, a citation, but TSA also reserves the right to levy a civil penalty of up to $7,000 if a person brings a firearm to the security checkpoint. So not only is it an inconvenient mistake, it can be a very expensive mistake.
Are people pretty cooperative when you find things that they shouldn't be carrying? Or are they
I want to say initially people have a lot of questions, they have a lot of concerns. They do want to, of course, try to get past the rules, but the biggest thing is as soon as we're able to talk to them, answer their questions, even most of the time people just want to know the whys behind it. If we can provide them with the whys and give them other alternatives, then they seem to understand, because inevitably we're all here for the same thing, movement of people, and honestly just as quickly as possible. So by leaving questionable items at home, then everybody gets to their destination quicker.
So TSA PreCheck is a program that was rolled out originally in October of 2011, and it allows passengers to leave on their shoes, their belt, a light outer jacket or sweater, and at some airports they can leave their laptop in their bag and their carry-on bag, as well as their liquid gels and aerosols. At this particular airport you can leave your shoes on, leave your belt on, and your light outer jacket. The way people become eligible for TSA PreCheck is they would need to enroll in a trusted traveler program. There is not an enrollment center in Pocatello, but there is one in Idaho Falls and there is one in Soda Springs. I never speculate on why a passenger brings something to the security checkpoint. Oftentimes they say that they forgot. We have to remember, though, that we need to enforce the rules related to prohibited items, and passengers are given options if they bring that prohibited item. And the options are essentially you can give the item that's prohibited to a non-traveling family member if they're still here at the airport, or you could call them to come back to the airport. The other thing is you can return it to your car if you've parked here. The last option, which is probably not the passenger's favorite, but it is given, is that they can leave that item behind at the security checkpoint. That property does not remain with TSA. It is surplused, and it goes to the state surplus agency, and they handle that. As you can imagine, we do get all types of items, many of them metal, and we just don't have place to store those. So it's not our property. We're not keeping anybody's items. We just want to make sure that if they do leave them behind, they become part of the surplus process. Every day we see prohibited items. They range from knives and tools, novelty items. There are many items that people can't bring onto an aircraft. If I had to sum them up, I would say anything with a blade, anything that looks like the real thing, so realistic replicas. Tools are very common. People bring those, they might use them for their work. Those items are not allowed. There are restrictions on the quantity of liquid gels and aerosols that people can bring to the checkpoint. It needs to be 100 milliliters, which is 3.4 ounces or less, in order to be able to go through security. You place all those in a 1-quart bag and they're screened separately, and then you'll be allowed to travel. So, just a little bit of preparation, familiarity with the rules, a dose of common sense, and people should be able to get through pretty quickly.
Thanks for watching. I'm Jenny Losi with the Idaho State Journal. Visit idahostatejournal.com for more news stories, and visit tsa.gov for more information on this topic.